35mm is one of the most popular focal lengths for street photography, and for a very good reason. It's wide enough to give you a good field of view to get in the entire scene, whilst at the same time being not so wide that you can't get those more intimate shots when you really want them. The TTArtisan 35mm f1.4 is no exception, but this also offers a bright aperture for a very affordable price. So, is it any good? Alright, can we just take a second to appreciate how frigging cute this lens is? I mean, it's tiny. I mean, as a comparison, here's my air blower. So yeah, there's that. It's so tiny that even on the front of the A6000, which isn't a big camera, it looks kind of lost. So there it is. Look at it. It's awesome. Now, despite its tiny size, it's still, much like the rest of the trio, made of all metal and glass, so it's a very solid 39mm filter thread with this cool, clicky aperture ring. Listen to this. Now, I don't have another 35mm f1.4 to compare this lens to, but I do have this, the Sigma Art 30mm f2.8, and while it's not a direct comparison, I think it would be good enough to get some comparison shots. And now I know there is the 30mm f1.4 Contemporary from Sigma, which is arguably one of the sharpest lenses available for Sony APS-C, but it's also 4 times the price of this. This thing comes in at about £73. Now, like the rest of the trio, this thing is fully manual focus, manual aperture, but personally it doesn't really bother me. The focus ring is super smooth, the aperture ring feels really good, it has those nice clicks. And honestly, as someone who uses manual lenses a lot of the time, this thing is awesome. Alright, basic settings, f5.6, ISO 100, 1/400th of a second because it is a little bit overcast. The cloud keeps breaking, but it'll do for now. All of the relevant information will be on the images when you see them anyway. Now, there's one thing I have noticed about this 35mm, and I noticed it on the 50 as well, that infinity isn't quite infinity. It's like you have to dial it back just a fraction, but I did read on the internet that you can adjust this. I'm not going to do it. It works well enough for me. But yeah, it is possible to adjust it. So if you do buy one of these lenses and you find that infinity isn't quite where you think it should be, don't worry too much. It is possible to have it corrected. Alright, so what do I think of the TTArtisan 35mm f1.4? I like it, it's good, but I prefer the 50, but that's just personal preference. I prefer 50mm as a focal length on APS-C. I don't like to get too close to people when I'm shooting street, so this lens for me would probably be better either at night or in landscape or coastal situations, that kind of thing, or just as a walk around for snapping and whatnot. But at £73, it's a bargain, it really is. It's built fantastically and it's super, super sharp and super fast. Now, one big thing I didn't like about it is I went out and I shot at night and it flares horribly. I mean, it's easily sort of avoided, but it can sort of kind of creep up on you if you get the angle just wrong when you're facing direct light. I'll throw a couple of samples on the screen. It's this weird hazy arc and yeah, it's not too clever and you can't really do much with it in post. So just something to be aware of. In normal sort of shooting situations when you're not looking into direct light, it's fantastic, but yeah, just be aware of that flaring. All right, so if you are interested in this lens or the 50mm that I had a look at last week, there is an affiliate link in the description down below. I do get a little bit of commission from that if you use it, but at no extra cost to you, so thank you very much if you do that. As with the last video, I will put a link down below to some sample raw images. They're just on my website, there's just a link to my website. The 50mm ones are still up there if you want to have a look at those as well, but I will put the 35mm ones up there for you to have a poke around at and have a look at for sharpness and such as that. If you're interested in the 50mm f1.2 and you haven't seen the video already, here it is, give it a look, and I will see you in the next one.